bad news is Neil will be taking over both branches, and some of you will lose your jobs. Yeah. Those of you who are kept on will have to relocate to Swindon if you want to. Yeah. Stay. I know. Gutting. You didn't see me. On a more positive note, the good news is I've been promoted. You think like the bad news, aren't you?
It's only bad news and irrelevant news.
Yeah, that's not a phrase though, is it? I couldn't come out and go, oh, I've got some bad news and some irrelevant news.
You just told us about Neil. Get your promotion to yourself.
Should have told us the good news first. Got you happy.
No good news, David.
I think promotion is genuinely considered good news.
We're going to lose our jobs.
You're not all going to lose your jobs. God, just right. You're not going to lose your job. You're not going to lose your job. You know, you're not going to lose your job. So, let's get it in perspective, yeah? Come on. You know, there's only 7 people on the board, yeah?
All right, y'all. All right, let's go and get into the show. Hey, Stephanie, what's happening?
Hey. Who am I talking to today?
You know, I can be Roscoe Jenkins, I can be Tommy, I can be Lily. I don't care who it is, but you can still talk to me.
Talk to you.
So, y'all, all right, now it's good. I'm going to have to go and get in that.
That dental.
All right. Yeah. I'd like to keep them in there. Hey, y'all, hey, welcome to the broadcast. This is, I am Mr. Anthony Hubbard, the owner and founder of Speak to My Heart Life Coach, and this is the Door to Expansion webcast. And we are dealing with leadership. A lot of people probably, whenever we think of leadership, they probably ain't really, they just probably thinking of a boss, but they're not really even going in and start thinking about family ties, But we'll get into some of that right there. Posted a question on there, I think it was last Monday, talking about servant leadership and self-serving leadership. And as we just seen with that video, we probably can conclude that right there was that self-serving leader right there. But yeah, that's some of the things we're going to be talking about today. But before we get started, I am, like I mentioned, Anthony Hubbard, speak to my heart life coach. And if you don't know what a life coach is, it's basically somebody who's there to walk and assist you in your journeys in life. I try to ensure that whatever your goals are, that you can accomplish them. A lot of people they're going to get an obstacle in their way. What happens? They stop trying. But at the same time, that's what I'm here to hold you accountable. And I am going to turn it over to my co-host, Ms. Stephanie Hollis Passmore.
Hey there. Stephanie Hollis Passmore. I'm a licensed mental counselor. I'm listening to some feedback.
I hear a little bit too.
All right. Like I said, licensed mental health counselor, marriage and family therapist, with 8 years or more in the field of advocacy, counseling, and conflict resolution. I am the solo practitioner for the Narrative Shift, counseling and consultation. And what I do is I provide counseling, insight with practical strategies for helping others with like anxiety, depression, trauma, codependency, other issues. I realize that no two people are the same, and therefore I cater my services to meet individual needs. I'm a healer, helper, caregiver, and counselor. That's what I am, and that's what I do.
That's a lot. That's a lot of titles to hold down right there.
And let me add leader to that. I'll go ahead and add.
Okay. I mean, you got to add a leader in there, since that's what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to jump into this show right here, I think we can all say we've experienced the good and the bad leaders, but whenever we think and talk about good and bad leaders, you know, what makes us say that they're good or bad leaders? And I think that was like one of the questions, you know, I tried to pose out there to find out what do you consider a good leader or what do you consider a bad leader? And I'll start it off. My definition of a good leader is somebody who don't care about themselves. They put in anything that they do is doing it for somebody else. So if I wanted, because to me, the only way you can succeed is by helping somebody else. And a bad leader is just the opposite. You know, just how we seen that little video clip. You know, the guy, he was like, hey, I got good news and bad news. Bad news is some of y'all going home. The good news is I got promoted though. Isn't that good news? So, you know, I think that's my definition, a very short definition of a good leader and good leader and a bad leader. What about yourself?
You know, just in looking at that clip, and I'm pretty sure because he was promoted, he had assistance from probably a lot of those individuals in the room, you know, because leading does not require you just to, you know, be front row center doing the thing. Like, it takes a team effort from both leadership and followership. So for me, you know, what I've experienced in good leaders is a leader who's very team oriented, you know, who's an active listener, like where I'm feeling heard. They're a good truth teller. They facilitate problem solving. A good leader is also a mentor for me. So they do a lot of that mental modeling, you know, ethical cognizance. They have a moral compass. That's what I think, you know, good leader traits that they represent.
All right, so you threw a couple of characteristics out there for that leadership. All right. So here's another question that I posed, and I seen this somewhere, and while I was in the Navy, I've actually put this up for my sailors, and I asked, are people more excited to see you enter a room or leave the room? And to me, you know, whenever we start talking about leadership, we start talking about a family dynamic. You know, as a mom or a dad or brother or sister, are your kids, your brothers and sisters, your family, your relatives, are they happy that you come into that room, or are they happy whenever they be like, man, I'm sure I'm glad that person rolled out? You know what I'm saying? And if you sit and think about that, you know, a lot of people be like, oh, I don't care how they feel. Well, I probably beg to differ with you on that one like that, because if people get more excited for me to leave a room, hey, that right there is telling me something about myself. Probably some things that I don't want to identify with myself.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, leadership is, people don't understand that leadership is relationship. I think about, you know, people think leadership is something that you do in the workplace, but leadership is relationship. Leadership is how you interact with anybody and everybody. You have to be very self-aware of how you react or respond or relate. That's a skill. Leadership is. You know, I think about leadership in the home, like head of household, single parent, how they're raising kids and mental modeling for their kids. Or, you know, that oldest sibling who's now have to be responsible for aging or elderly parents having to make sound decisions for their livelihood. Yeah. Even in the workplace, you don't have to necessarily be designated a leader to lead. You can do that from any work position or work title.
So whenever, if I was a leader, if I was your leader and I had to continue to tell you I was the boss, so I'm the leader, how does that make you feel?
You just talking, because I'm from the show me state. Like, you can say I have this title, whether that's supervisor, leader, CEO. If you're not doing what you say you're going to do, or you don't lend out a mentorship or create teaching moments for me, you simply have nothing but a title and no type of influence or impact, not in a positive way.
Yeah. I always used to tell people, you know, as I was coming up, and then I started basically mentoring other people. If I have to tell you that I'm your leader, that right there, I know my credibility must be shot already. And you know, whenever we start talking about some of those characteristics, credibility is one of the biggest things as a leader that you don't need, because you know, between credibility and trust, once them things are shot, it's hard to get them back. So it's just sometimes it's just so it's those basic fundamental characteristics of yourself that you need to have before. And you know, there's a lot of books on leadership, there's a lot of classes, seminars, all this other stuff. And most time that you know, the first question that come up is leadership a taught thing, or is it natural? And I think it's both. Some people just have the skills because of life situations that have put them in situations for them to become a great leader. And then other people actually learned it because, like we mentioned, the good and bad leaders. So I see it on both ways. But at the same time, if you ain't practicing it and it's all about you, I mean, that's one of the things that you can't change about yourself.
Yeah. There are people that are considered natural born leaders. Those are the people that when they walk in a room, they exude confidence. they know their stuff, you know, subject matter experts. They know the influence and the impact. That's that confidence. But leadership is oftentimes a skill. It's an art. It's a craft. You have to work and put practice into it. So you can have both. You can be naturally born, or you know, put into practice that skill set.
Hey, I got a comment on here because you said you from the Show Me State, which is Missouri. Because I was like, I know Show Me State is Missouri. Okay, then.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is that Carlos?
Hey, Facebook user, it's not your name showing up on there. If you could just please put your name in there so we know who we talking to. We don't want to give nobody else credit for your comments.
Yeah, you was talking about credibility. I think that is the foundation for leadership, you know. And because, you know, it's important to followership because those relationship dynamics are very, you know, it's considered like a power differential, you know, from leaders and followers. So when you're saying I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, that creates that stability. Like, this is a person that I will follow. This is a person that I'm entrusting, that he's looking at the whole. He or she is looking at the whole, the benefit for everybody, not just themselves.
Gotcha. Thanks, Mel. We got you. That's the Facebook user.
Melanie.
Yeah. All right. So with that question, I did have somebody comment on that. Whenever we asked, are more people excited to see you enter or leave the room? And one person mentioned it depended on the room, but I always had a feeling people were happier when I wasn't in the room. There were probably times I was a great leader and times I really sucked at it. And so whenever I read a statement like this, I would always venture back to go back and say, why did you feel this way? You know, because where people, and it's going to be another question that we'll get to, but I would always go back to venture and say, okay, then if you felt that way, was there any point in time when you went back and asked the question, hey, how am I doing? Because to me, as a great leader, I need that follow up. I need that feedback. And you know, some people would be like, oh, that constructive criticism is not good, and you know, but to me, that right there defines that leader. Because if I'm a servant leader, I'm trying to make sure I'm enhancing somebody else, and the only way I can enhance somebody else is to get feedback from them. But a bad leader don't want to hear the feedback. So,
Well, this because there's not a name attached to it, but who left this comment to me that says that you must be a great leader to even acknowledge that there's been some missed opportunities there for me to be more effective at my leadership. And there's all different types of leadership and leadership style.
Mm-hmm.
It may not necessarily mean like, where they're saying like people were probably happier when I wasn't in the room. Weren't happier when I was in the room. Perhaps your type of leadership style didn't fit that audience. Perhaps, it all depends on who your audience is, because not everyone is going to feed into the criticism, the constructive criticism. Some people are not open to that. But yeah, it depends on who your audience is and what type of leadership style. I don't know. I know of maybe 20 different leadership styles. Research and study, their leadership is evolving. It's constant. So, yeah, there's more than one way to lead.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was one thing that I wanted to mention in there about leadership. Just because you have this one, like you just mentioned, just because you got this one style, if you're not willing to change over time, you still gonna be an ineffective leader to me, because that's what it's all about. I need to change with the times and with the people. They always say one leadership style cannot suffice everybody that's in a group. You can't do it. There's no way possible. So there are a couple of different studies that's out there that it kind of help define who you are, and then depending on what type of relationship that you have with your people, you can actually give them that same test and find out what are they looking for in leadership. And this is not one of them sessions when I tell you need to coddle everybody and babysit them and walk. I'm not saying anything like that. But what I am saying is sometimes you got to care. You got to, what they call it, the give a dang factor.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you just sit and be like, instead of me walking up to you and be like, hey, how you doing? And not really mean it. It's just one of them things. Most of the time, if I say something like that, I'm looking for a response back from you. And I don't really want a canned response. I'm good. And then keep moving. Most of the time, I'll probably just sit there and talk. I guess that's why, people be like, you got that gift of gab. I don't really call it a gift of gab. I just call it, I'm concerned.
Yeah, because it's not when you say gift of gab, it's like you're not giving fluff, right? You're really trying to have some influence and impact and give perspective. So
yeah. And so we had another person who responded. She just said, I pray that they would rather see me walk in the door. I think one of the best and underrated qualities of a good leader is the ability to listen and not listen to respond. Wow. That communication factor, man, it's just amazing how communication plays such a big part in any and everything that we do. Because if you don't listen, what's the purpose? I can sit and talk to a wall and feel good about myself, because I know the wall is not going to give me a response, but it's just there. Mm-hmm. And some people, they just there. And like you say, they're always looking to respond. Hey, there's a problem. There's a need that you got. I can fix this for you. Not everybody needs that though.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Maranthony. What are some of the key behaviors and actions you took whenever you've been at your own, as, been on your own, as, consider yourself best as a leader? So what are some actions, behaviors you took when you considered yourself your own best as a leader? When I knew the people I was leading. And what I mean by that is, like I mentioned before, I cared about people. So I want to find out, if you got a family, let me learn a little bit about your family, because I always want to check up on you and the family. Mm-hmm. Because if I did that, that really shows that there's some action. And it just wasn't, oh, I know you got 2 kids and that's it.
No, what are their names? I'm bad with names, but I can be like, hey, look, buddy, your youngest one,
Mhm.
they still playing football, and I can piggyback off stuff like that. So that's one of the things. The other one is listening, and then the ability to ask them, do you need help? Do you need assistance? Or are you just venting to me? If you
Mhm.
just vent to me, that's fine. I'm here to listen to you because apparently you might not have anybody else. Uh, Another one is, let's see, the ability to ask questions. That's, I think, and that right there, for me to go back to you, and just like I mentioned, hey, you know what? I might have misstepped, probably said something that was out of the line, but did I handle that the right way? I don't have a problem with going back to somebody and say, you know what, I messed up. Uh, how can I handle this better? Depending on what the situation was. And sometimes, depending on the heat or what's going on, sometimes you don't have an opportunity to explain stuff to people. So it's just like, hey, I need to get this done right now. And they ask why? Hey, this is not the time. But I think as long as I had that communication prior to, most of the time it wouldn't ask a why because they'd be like, all right, if he's coming to me like this, it need to get done. And I know he'll explain it later. So to me, those are my best moments as being a leader.
Awesome.
What about yourself?
I would think that I've been at my best as a leader. Um, I'd have to think back to just a spiritual walk when I've been conflicted or felt conflicted about things, or even in trying to raise my kids and not fully sure if I have the right answer. So I would say I've been at my best as a leader when I've laid my heart, spirit, and mind at the feet of God. Really going to God and relying not on myself, but relying on the Creator to provide perspective for me, to kind of lead me. And I think, a leadership quality is learning how to depend on someone other than yourself, solely. So when you don't have the answer, don't fake it till you make it. Really find the source, get to the source, plug into the source. And I think that's, for me, would be some of those moments for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plug into the source. So that leads to this question right here then. What would happen? What happened to the slope of other people's performance after you showed up? Did it go up or down? And even if you use that same example as being a mother to the kids.
With mothering and stuff, that's gone all different types of ways, directions. But when my kids are going through some things and it's they come to me and they assume since I'm a counselor, I have all the answers or can easily console. It's I know my middle child, he's always Mom, can you pray for me? As a leader, as a praying mother, that's a responsibility for me to pray for my kiddos. And so, does their performance, does that create a slope in their performance? Either they're, having a bad day or whatever. But I think me just saying I'm praying for you, that's a responsibility that I'm taking on as a praying mother, just to be able to console them in that moment. So I think it's a quiet influence on my kids.
Well, I mean, personally, I would say that's a positive performance as well, because whenever somebody can come back to you and say, "Can you do this for me?" To me, that right there is the positive portion of it. because if, and I'll go back to my Navy days, one of the things I used to tell people all the time was, as a career counselor, my goal, well, my job was to ensure people met their goals. And whenever people didn't have answers, instead of them going to their leadership, they would come to me. And I would tell their leaders, I was like, you know what? I don't want you to come directly to, I don't want the person to come directly to me. I want you to come to me. Because as a leader, what's going to happen is they're going to cut you out. And, you know, we was talking about that accountability and credibility. If you get cut off the picture, why are they going to continue? Why are they going to come to you? So now they're coming directly to me, and you still don't have an answer for them. So wouldn't it be best for you to come to me with the problem? I provide that answer. So now you have the answer, and then you can go and share the wealth to everybody else. So, you know, and that was one of them things. So, but at the same time, I always felt good because they said, you know what? I know where to get an answer from. And if he don't have the answer, maybe he can help me out in some kind of way or find that answer out. So to me, that was always refreshing to me whenever that happened. But like I said, I'm one of the ones who share the wealth, and I don't want to cut somebody else out the picture. I want them to grow and you know, be that great leader.
Look at you. Sharing is caring.
It is. I tell everybody, you never know. None of us is blessed. None of us know the day or time that we're going to leave. So if I take the answers with me, that knowledge is gone. So I rather share it with everybody.
That's a lot of, you know, people tend to like really not share information, especially like in the workspaces, regardless if you're working on teams or not, or if your position has nothing to do with the next, people still hoard information. Like it's some type of gold mine, or, you know.
I've never understood that. Why?
Mm-hmm.
So this question right here, what could you have done, big or small, to improve your team's performance? So if you think about one of them negative times that you might have had, what were some of the things that you think you probably could have changed with yourself to help somebody improve?
Possibly for me, that could have been sharing information, because I've hoarded information before, a lot of times. But I think, you know, just being, if I had a resource to share that resource, to enlighten, or to even something as simple as shifting a perspective. So to improve team's performance, I would say, you know, consider myself a team-oriented person, to actually put in some work effort. You know, working in community mental health, I was very burnt out.
Oh, I bet.
So I didn't have any, you know, after, you know, direct contact with clients, I had no energy to give to like peer group, you know, when we sit down and met on our teams, and yeah, too exhausted to share at that point.
And for me, what could I have done big or small to improve my team's performance? I would say doing my homework, researching. And the reason I say that is because, and it's just like even after these shows, you know, we'll sit and talk after the show, and I'd be like, oh, you know what? I sure enough wish I would have said this right here. Or, you know what? This would have been a great time. But to me, that right there is, I guess, my own personal letdown to the people that's listening and watching the show, because it's just like, man, if I would have said this, maybe it could have probably touched this other person in a different way. So for me, what could I have done big or small to improve my team's performance? It would say do my homework and do research. And so even with that being said, that's why now, you know, I've been reading a little bit more. I've been watching more videos, you know, just to make myself become more aware, so I can provide and share the information to somebody who probably don't have the time to read or watch something. You know, if this is the only time they have to look at this, hey, I want to make sure I want to make sure the information that's coming from us is going to be relevant to help somebody else out. So to help improve everybody else, I got to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Just don't hold out on me. Don't drop nothing on me like 2 seconds before we air.
Hey, this is live right here. All right, live.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to give you some compliments on that headgear you got.
It's fixing to come off though. This is removable, guys. Like this ain't no. Yeah. I'm kind of low key looking like my mama right now. This is why I'm kind of like oof.
She probably like, girl, please.
Oh, that's gonna be another topic for another day.
I don't know. Maybe I should have got my hair braided before we came on, but I didn't have enough time.
Brush down some of them baby hairs.
I was watching the comedy show last night, and I think that was Samora who mentioned that, talking about, hey, you know what? All y'all walking around with this baby hair on here. You ain't been a baby in I don't know how long. So you need to get up off of that. I was like, oh, hey, you're telling the point.
Now I mess with some baby hairs now when I had some hair. Do that little doobity doo. I don't know if I created edges, I think.
Oh boy. Something else I've seen. It was called the 4 levels of perception, and with the 4, and they say the body, the mind, the heart, and the soul. Whenever they start talking about the soul of leadership, and with the body is the state of observing information gathering. The mind is the stage of analysis and judgment. The heart is the stage of feeling, and then the soul is the stage of incubation. So whenever we always, I think it was a few shows back, we was talking about nothing ever grows in the daytime. It's always in the dark. So with that, in the soul, the stage of incubation, planting the seeds out there and letting it go. We not, just like with this show right here, we're not here just to rah at you and tell you what you need to do. But
right.
Throwing some seeds out there. And you never know whenever the seeds might come to fruition. But I read that the four levels of perception, the body, the mind, the heart, and the soul, and each one of them plays a different part in the leadership role. The body, like I said, the state of observing information. So for me, just to sit and listen to you, we go back to that communication piece. And then the mind, I got to discern everything that's going on. Is this, like I mentioned, is this one of them times that I need to interject? Or is this just one of them times where I need to just take the information in? And then the heart is the stage of feeling. A lot of people, so if I told you, if somebody said they lead with their heart, what would you say about that person? Would you consider them a good or bad leader?
Leadership is about relationship. It's about situation as well. So you can't just always go with your heart. I mean, I guess circumstances and situations call for that appropriate time, but you cannot always lead with your heart. I do not believe.
Yeah.
But then this is gonna like contradict what I'm about to say. Leadership is not an affair of the heart, not an affair of the head, but of the heart.
I mean, I get it because most people like, oh, they lead, they got their heart on their sleeve, and that's how they leading. And sometimes you might need that. And whenever I hear somebody say that, it's basically, do they have empathy? And if you have empathy during leadership, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Because like you said, different situations are gonna bring up different things. So if you don't have that empathy bone in your body, then it's kind of hard to relate to people.
Yeah.
Now sympathy, Sympathy, on the other hand, that's something totally different there.
Yeah. You know, like with me studying leadership, like one of the leadership styles that I'm most interested in is transformational leadership. And the reason why I like transformational leadership, because it's about being future oriented. It forgets about the transgressions of the past, like the mistakes, and it moves you forward. So good leaders don't hold grudges. They don't get lost in the past. They don't focus on that. They allow followers to make mistakes and they learn from those mistakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
I
why
totally agree.
yeah. So it's about leadership is about, effecting change, getting someone to change behaviors, to change the way they think, to adopt those ideologies, and to move forward with new concept, new framework. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that like you mentioned, what are you willing to change? That's the biggest one. And if you're not willing to change, it's a bad day.
You may be willing to change, but you have to have someone in front of you kind of shifting that perspective for you.
Yeah, true. That's very true.
Because followers are like, well, what are we buying into? Anybody can get in front of us and be like, you need to do this, and by this time frame. Okay. So who's facilitating? What do we need to do? What you got for us? You got any ideas, any resolution up front? Like, how do we get this done? So that's the responsibility of leadership, how to get some buy-in.
Well, there you go. You studied just leading into it. So yet again, a good leader has to have vision. If you're not a visionary type person, then I'm just not going to blindly follow you. And there's a lot of, I think a lot of leaders, well, I would say not so good leaders don't have vision. And if you don't have a vision, guess what happens? The train is just going to fall off the track. So whenever you start talking about that buy-in portion of it, I think that's one of the biggest things, because if I can see where your vision or where your goal is going, and I can say, okay, then I see where they're going with this, I'm ready to follow. But yet again, as a good leader, if my vision is out there, and then the people I have with me, and they are just like, I don't know about this one right here, a great leader is going to sit down and be like, okay, then let me hear what it is that you got to say, and then we can adjust as need be. So, and that's why I titled this one Leadership 101, because whenever we start dealing with leadership, it's just so great, but you have to have a starting point. And to me, that starting point is yourself, the person themselves. It's like you said, it's not about a title. It's not anything like that. It's about you. Mm-hmm. What type of person are you? That's what it's going to come down to. And, I'm not really going to talk about politics, but we can look at our past presidents, and then, everybody have their own opinion on a whole bunch of things. And like I said, I ain't going to get into it because, like I said, it's an opinion. But, if we go back X number of years and we look at different people that's been in the head person right there, I might think this person is a great leader. Somebody else might think somebody else is a great leader. But that's, to me, we go back to the type of person you are and the characteristics that you would like shown to people, because I probably
gravitate too.
Yeah. And so, I might totally agree with some of the characteristics of their qualities on this one right here, but think that the situation that they was put in is just maybe out they lead. And so, and that's another thing. Whenever, we go back to a couple of shows, whenever we start talking about, hey, you know what? I wish I was that person right there. Well, are you sure you want to be that person? You don't know the trials and tribulations that person had to endure to get to the place that they are now. So are you really ready to go in there and do that? So that's one of them things that you have to look at.
Oh, yeah.
Another little topic that was brought up on here. Somebody actually made is it an acronym? Basically, so the word leaders,
Mm-hmm.
they came up with they said it's called a practical step. Yes, as an acronym. The L stood for look and listen.
Mm-hmm.
The E stood for emotional bonding. The A stood for awareness. The D was for doing. The E was for empowerment. The R, responsibility. And then an S, and I know I'm going to mess it up because I'm from Little Rock, synchronicity.
Okay.
Synchronicity. It sounds good. Yeah, even if it ain't right, it sounds good. But they said that's what leaders.
What did the L stand for?
Look and listen.
Look and listen.
Yeah. The E was emotional bonding.
So that would sound like leader would be, and what was the D for?
The D was doing. So you got to have action.
So this is action. Okay. So look and listen means searching out opportunity to either lead or to be led. Both is a teaching moment and an experience. Emotional bonding, that could be the emotional intelligence that you have to serve up, meaning you have to find some relatability in the people that you choose to lead or who you choose to allow to lead you, right? Awareness, it always reflects on self. What's that? What did they say in the Bible? Don't go poking out your eye, or I'm the muddy of Bible verses. So pick out pick out the wood chip out of your eye before you pull it out of somebody else's. Like, you have to understand yourself before you can try and understand someone else, right?
And that was one video I was going to show. I'll probably show that at the beginning of our next one. It's called The Nail in the Head, and it was a man and a woman with the nail in the head.
I just saw that in my leadership class. I'm just that's not the problem.
That's not the problem right there.
Let's not focus on that. Yeah.
Hey, look like somebody got a joke for you. What's the matter? The wig too heavy?
You know what? Tell Dickie to leave me alone. Dickie probably ain't seen me with this much hair since like 6th grade when we was boyfriend and girlfriend. So it's probably bringing back memories. That's why he want to say something. But now, hey, Dickie. But yeah, in doing, like you said, that's action. And empowerment, that's what we do as leaders. And responsibility, I don't think responsibility is necessarily like it's not considering the outcome. It's the way in which leading is facilitated. Because leaders don't have to take responsibility for the outcome. Pass or fail. They don't necessarily need to take responsibility of that, but in the way they lead someone to an end. It's the journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, now this brings us back all the way to where we first started with that servant leadership and self-servant leader. So with that servant leadership, whenever we think about a servant leader, and especially with the doing portion of it, are you willing to go down there, the stuff that you're telling somebody else to do, are you willing to do it? And a lot of people, whenever they see their mentor or the person that's leading them, if they see that, that right there tells them, you know what? If they can do it, I know I can do it. And I've seen that so many times that whenever you see that, it's just like, dang, you know what? You really go out there and you really go and show out for that, for that person. But whenever somebody just always sitting up there, telling you what to do, and they don't even have any experience doing it, it's kind of hard to follow that person. So, but with that servant leadership, I think that's one of the things that if the world, and I'm gonna say the world, if everybody got behind a servant leadership aspect and look at life, how much better would the world be instead of that self-serving leader who's just out there for themselves and I'm gonna pull everybody else down and I got to make sure. And really, one of the things I've learned about that self-serving leader is they have that mentality because they're always scared. They're afraid of failing. And a self-serving person don't think that way. Is if I fail, as long as I'm boosting somebody else up and they're succeeding, then I'm still winning.
That self-serving, they have that intention, that motive, their own agenda. That, as you say, don't give a dang.
They give a dang factor.
Yeah. But you know what? The greatest leader of all time, how can we actually follow up that act? Jesus.
Oh, you want to talk about me?
Boy, no. I'm talking about Black Jesus. That's what I'm talking about. That's the greatest leader of all time. That servitude, that, there's no one greater amongst us. You know what I'm saying? We all have the same level playing field. So give unto others. Do as, what's that golden rule? Do unto others as you would like them. I told you I'm the Madea of Bible verses and stuff. But, level playing field.
Megan say, love the hair.
Oh, did we let them know this is us joking today?
No. This is me using Rogaine.
Rogaine ain't gonna ever help you. He ain't gonna ever help you.
So she also mentioned, especially with women, my aunt told me a lady won't get any respect if they don't do as much, if not more, than the guys. And right now, I'm really hoping that in the next few years that even playing field will actually come back to be an actual level playing field. So if a woman go out there and say, you know what, I want to get this job, they get paid the same thing as that man would, and it's just fair. But we all know, for anybody who want to sit and deny it, I sit down and have a conversation with them personally to find out why they think that way, because it's no equal playing field in a whole bunch of arenas. So,
well, the research and the study is now showing that who is coming to the forefront is women of color in leadership roles. We are those hidden figures which are moving forward. So, yeah.
And then Megan says it's gonna take time.
We there, Megan. We there. We coming.
Yay. Hey, especially Megan kicking this Moxie's candles out. So hey, she doing her thing.
Oh, tell her to name. Tell her to name a candle.
You hear that, Megan?
She got to name a candle after women in leadership. Something bossy or something. I don't even want to use bossy because
don't use bossy.
Label like that. Yeah, but that's another conversation to have too. I did some research on women of color in leadership, and our most opponent is the Black male.
Because they not feel like they're getting treated equally?
That we have taken away that grace from them. Like, here we are, white male counterpart, black female, white female, the black male. So we kind of took some thunder as the research would presume. So
Hey, if Dickie's still on, hey Dickie, if you still on, man, I think we can. That could be a joint conversation that we can have with Rebrand Us.
oh yeah.
So just to throw it out there.
Let's share some information and discussion, more Anthony.
Huh?
Upstaging them, yeah. Megan said upstaging.
Yeah. And she said that whenever you was talking about naming the candles, she said she should. So yeah. Well, I think with this topic right here, Leadership 101, I think one of the biggest things that I hope that you really took out of this, the viewers, that you know what, to be an outstanding or a great leader is all about serving others, finding out what the other people need in order for you to lead them. And I guess the first thing that you need to have is, like we mentioned, you have to have vision. You have to have a purpose. And as long as you can get that vision or that purpose out to others, they would see, hey, this is the reason why this person is going that way. And if they don't understand that, then what's the purpose in them trying to follow you? So,
Well, leadership is about being able to create new pathways for others, to kind of help them find their own niche, to create their own vision. That's a part of empowering, motivating, encouraging, being that motivation for them. Leadership has a lot of responsibility.
it does. And what's a good Bible verse for that one right there? I know Spider-Man used it in one of his. Yeah. When great power requires great responsibility.
Oh, okay.
It's something like that. See, now you got me butchering stuff up.
I was like, what book did that come out of in the Bible? was that Peter? Peter was in Spider-Man. Wasn't he the main character?
Pete Parker.
Pete Parker.
Yeah. All right, y'all. We gonna this is our part of our business. Whenever we give some shout out to the businesses, so hold up for this little commercial break.
Oh,
All right. Yeah. They call this jamming. Just a little bit. So, with that being said, a couple of shout outs to some businesses that's out there that we really like for you to support. Like we mentioned earlier, Miss Megan, she does scented candles, and that website that's going across the screen right now is where you could actually go and look at the products that she have available. So Megan, I'm just letting you know, I'm just getting my little Christmas order stuff in together. So you should be seeing my little list come in to you real soon. So just get ready. And I ain't, Stephanie, I might get you something. I don't know yet.
okay. I like lavender.
Huh?
I like lavender.
All right, so it'd be anything other than lavender. Got you. Trick or treat.
Smell my feet.
Our next one right here is Angel. She is from Flourish and Hope. She is a licensed counselor in the state of Texas and also a life coach that performs everything from around the world as far as coaching go. She really empowers a lot of women to actually, just like the name of her business, find hope for people. So if you're a woman that might need counseling in the state of Texas, please look her up. Or if you're just a lady who probably needs some coaching, please look her up as well. And you can find her on that website right there. Profit First Taxes. Shane, this was one of Shane's, and Shane has said that you are basically I almost said small business again. If you are a business owner, whatever the size is, because we looking to promote things, we looking to not put name or labels on stuff. I would say that instead of being a small business owner, you're a business owner looking to become greater. I would say something like that. But if you need help with your finances or anything like that, as far as the taxes go, please visit Shane at thisprofitfirsttaxes.com. And if you are in the state of Tennessee, really in the city of Memphis right here, Adriana Casso is ready to slay. So I don't know how much she can do with this, but she does. Her biggest focus is on the eyebrows. Hey, what I can't even think of
It's the
esthetician.
So you got. I'm from Texas, so ain't no.
So ain't no different. All right then. Yeah, but
esthetician.
There you go. But please look her up, especially if you're in Memphis or in the surrounding areas. Please give her a call, or you can go to her website and book her up. Especially proms, homecomings, all that other good stuff that's coming in. Hey, what better way to go ahead and get slayed?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should have hit her up before Halloween. Yeah, I could have got my butterfly effect on with them heavy eyelashes. Oh, Megan, she said, thank you. She's restocking a bunch now. All right, then. So there are some of our businesses. Oh, and mentioning, let's see, outside of business stuff, there are a couple different shows that, we've been trying to hype up as well, too. Just like our show come on every Sunday. Dickie came on. He have a show on Facebook called Rebrand Us. It's a funny show. I will give him that. It is funny. Some of the topics that he talk about, it relates to more the African American community, and I'm not just saying people who of color or African Americans. They the only ones need to watch the show. But I would really advise any and everybody to watch the show, because it just we always talk about perspectives and stuff like that. It'll give you a greater perspective on some of the issues that's going around in that community. Another show that I want to promote is Mr. Carlos.
Is that what the 305 perspective?
The 501 perspective changer.
Oh, we're up. Who is
501 perspective changer? He is a person who is looking to enhance life, and that's what he says a perspective changer is to give you a different perspective on some of the things that you might have been thinking about. You can also visit him on Facebook and just look up Carlos Henson, 501 Perspective Changer, and his show comes on every Sunday at 3 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock or 3:30.
3:30, I believe.
All right, 3:30 Central Standard Time. So just become a friend of him, and you'll get that notification.
And what is his tagline? It's
you don't have to have vision. You don't
have to have eyesight
to have vision.
That's so true.
Yes, because he is a legally blind man. Actually, I watched the show today. He did a painting. He did a painting. So yeah, he actually put the painting up there and said he wasn't done with it, but he got some more stuff to do. But I mean, that right there tell you what type of perspective that you can get from a guy who cannot see but still have vision. So just to put that one out there. And the last one, Eat, Laugh, and Hustle. It's a show from a retired female chief who's looking also, she's down in Texas. She does a show once a week or once a month. But the show is they're hilarious. Even though it's for women, I had to look at it just to find out what it is, because if I want to promote her, I got to find out. So it is pretty good.
Your research.
Yeah, I got to do my research. It is good though. Eat, laugh, and hustle. You can just look that up on Facebook, and I think she actually has a webpage that you can go to as well. So, just want to give everybody these shouts outs. If you have a business and you want to get a shout out on the show, just shoot it. Go to our Facebook page, the community, the Daughter Expansion Community on Facebook, and then say Business Saturdays. Put that information in there. Give us a little bio. If you got a website, give us the website. We can advertise on here, and then get your stuff out there. Hey, Christmas time is coming up, people. So what better waiting on to get your stuff out there? It ain't nothing about no small business around here. We just talking about business that's trying to get bigger.
Business is taking care of business.
All right. So we kind of over our time, Stephanie. You be over here tripping and stuff.
Because you always be wanting to talk. But okay.
All right. I'll tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something. Yeah. Why don't you go and get your little stuff so we can go and get on out of here?
You know, listen clearly. Okay. You are worth investing in. Your voice, influence, and impact are worth investing in, because every investment you make is preparation for your leadership journey.
Okay.
That is by Jo Saxton.
I'm feeling that.
Her book, Ready to Rise. There's a
Ready
plug.
to Rise.
Joe. Ready to Rise.
Okay.
Women in leadership. Yep.
Doing your little research, I got you.
Yeah, you know.
So my quote for this one is: leaders exist to give of themselves and can give only from what they have. So to me, it goes back to that same point. If I don't do my own research and my own homework, how can I go out and try to provide you something that I don't have? So that's where it really came. That's where it stems from to me: homework and research. But with that being said, you got any other? Say that again.
I said, don't forget about experience. Your experience, homework, research, and lived experiences.
Hey, all right. I guess you can throw that in there.
I'm through with you for today.
But hey, that's my motto from Speak My Heart Life Coaching. My tagline: anchored in real life, and that's where it basically comes from. All right, y'all. With that being said, I think we up out of here. So until next week, I am your host, Moranthony Hubbard, Speak My Heart Life Coach, and that is
Stephanie Passmore, The Narrative Shift.
all right, and we out of here.
All right.